we have a full moon in Aquarius at 6 degrees on the 29th of July coming up. And if you know this channel, you will know that recently I've released a lot of content about Pluto, including Pluto in astrology and Pluto through all the 12 houses. And this is exactly because Pluto is such a major player in cosmos right now and what we are experiencing both as a collective and on a personal level. And now Pluto is playing a major role again, because Pluto will be in conjunction to this full moon. And there will be a lot of things that might have been hidden for us before, we couldn't quite reach, we couldn't quite understand it, both again on a personal and collective level. And Pluto is making sure to almost go on the stage now and scream out to the public, hey, this is what you have to look at if you want to change something. Otherwise, it will just explode at one point. That's one side of it. But the things that are wonderful is that with a full moon, we get this gift of flash of insights, of transformation that was not available to us before. And one of the absolutely biggest gifts that I can see that this lunation is holding for us is coming from the Jupiter-Pluto opposition, where we as a collective are really being asked to tap into the knowledge and the wisdom of our hearts. Because right now we will have a Jupiter in Leo transiting into next summer, and that is really connecting us to the wisdom of our hearts, where true transformation takes place. It's almost as if there's this wonderful opportunity in time to make a new blueprint for what it means to move through this world as a conscious being, and participate in a sustainable way with yourself and the earth around you. And if anything, I would say that this Aquarius full moon seems to be that kind of invitation into a change of destiny for humanity, a change of destiny for yourself, particularly in the house areas that this lunation is affecting for you. So now with that introduction, I will dive deeper into the 12 zodiac signs. You can listen for your rising sign first, then for your sun sign, and then if you feel like it, you can also take a listen for your moon sign. And please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Aries rising folks out there, well, this Aquarius full moon will fall in your 11th house, and then on the opposite house, in the 5th, we have Sun and Jupiter together in Leo. So this is quite a strong illumination for the 5th and 11th house axis for you, where your 11th house is connected to your friendships and communities, your acquaintances, like just broader networks and groups that you kind of associate yourself with, how you go about in your public life, how people view you there as well. Also, your long-term goals and your visions for your future that you are trying to build is really being illuminated with this moon. And then at the same time, because we have our friend Pluto, who is in conjunct with the Sun, very, very strong right now, I would say that you should pay close attention to your friendships and really try to reflect on the person that you are becoming, and see if those friendships and these groups, communities, your vision even, are still in alignment with that. Because with Pluto under this illumination, under this full moon, there are things that were not accessible to you before that will be coming to the surface. You know, like, let's say that you have been engaging in a community or doing some volunteer work, and there's something that has felt maybe slightly out of alignment, or maybe a friendship group. Around this full moon, this could become very obvious to you why this is not working, or if it is working as well. Like, ask yourself questions of what communities and networks and collaboration are actually supporting where you want to go and what you're trying to build, and make a very honest assessment about this. Because with Pluto in conjunct to the moon, this really requires the deep reflection, the deep work, because otherwise it will just explode on a later state. So what is very significant for Pluto in general is that it has a ability to expose dynamics that could be holding some level of power, control, hierarchies, hidden agendas. You could become very aware of power dynamics in friendship groups or community settings. Even in regards to your own vision of things, there could be some power dynamics in your subconscious mind that are directly in opposition and hindering your visions to become reality. So I would look to that side as well, Aries rising if I were you. And then what is also a very important element of this full moon is that Sun and Jupiter are together in Leo in your 5th house. So the 5th house is the house that will bring you back to yourself. So let's say you are sensing some sort of friction in your 11th house matters at this moment, which has been building up a couple of weeks now. And now you need to make a level of decision, whether it's going to be that you cut off some people or groups, or that you just don't engage in specific group dynamics anymore. The 5th house is where you will need to invest your energy. So that rules your creativity, your self-expression. Is everything naturally connected to Leo? Your heart's passions, your heart energy. It's romance, it's pleasure. It's also the house that governs children. Finding that inner joy and innocence through these endeavors would be highly beneficial for you. And if you're someone who is, working professionally in the arts, this is the time where you want to become really, really real with yourself about whether the engagement that you have in your public life and groups are actually sustaining and holding and helping your personal creative growth. Because if not, now is the time to get really real about it. An image that comes to me specifically, let's say you are an actor, actress, and you have been going to a certain place to practice, or you are having some shows at a theater, and you have felt for a long time that you were pretty drained of energy every time you did that show in comparison to perhaps other things. Now I would pay attention to whether it's worth for you to invest that energy in that community anymore. And this is exactly also why I did a video last week about Jupiter opposing Pluto, because Pluto is an incredible important player in the astrological game right now. So I recommend for you to listen to that video as well, and maybe perhaps even listen to my guidance for Pluto through the 12 houses in a natal chart, because that can help you maybe gain some insights or some strength in order to process and move forward into the next chapter you want to experience in your life. That's super important for you right now, Aries rising. If you want to grow and if you want to follow your visions, sometimes, the cosmos just works in duality, gives something up before you can receive something new. And perhaps it's a time for you to start taking your creative work field more seriously. And maybe it could be, if you're not a creative, but just in general, that you have a personal project that is growing and bringing you into contact perhaps with even very different kind of audiences or communities that the one that you're used to. Then be open to those sort of coincidences and be receptive to it. Perhaps I was also thinking that you could right now experience that you have a clarity with the moon here coming in about exactly what you want, whereas the Jupiter opposing Pluto in the first place could create quite a lot of friction, and now because we have the moon on with its full illumination, it's making things very obvious to you, and it's a wonderful time to take this opportunity to become very real with yourself and your dreams and where you're going and the people that you connect with. I would also say one last important thing in regards to this full moon is that you need to revisit the relationship you have between your individual expression and the people around you. Because sometimes a lot of people will hold themselves back because they know that what they truly want to express from the heart, their authenticity, will make some people judge them, and therefore they never take the risk. But this is exactly what will keep you stuck. You need to go out, take the risk, be joyful, love your craftsmanship, love your life, show that you can shine in your authenticity, because this is really, also remember, Aquarius is a humanitarian but also a visionary. So if you want to invest your energy in the future and line up the road for yourself, now is the time to be uniquely you, because there's no one in cosmos like you, and there will be no one like you. And the more that you train yourself to truly understand this, the more you can allow your authenticity and everything that is created from that state to flow. So really ask with this illumination if there were anything that were hidden to you before, like groups where you started to feel this friction, and it just felt hard to deal with. Now get ready to get a flash of insights and epiphanies, also in the most positive way with this lunation, and be ready to create and step more into the things that you're supposed to do in this moment, instead of restricting and holding yourself back based on other people's perceptions or what the group will think about you. So that's what I got for you, Aries rising. Again, I can really recommend for you to listen to my Pluto videos as well, as they can give you some extra insights and guidance in this period of time. If you'd like to work with me personally, I do offer natal readings and other sessions as well. You can look in the description box, and I hope you will like and subscribe to this channel, and I see you in another one. Bye. Hello, my Taurus risings. Well, for you, this full moon in Aquarius will fall in your 10th house, and then it will be in opposition to the Sun and Jupiter in Leo in your 4th house. So, when we have a full moon, it's like illuminating something full on. So it's in the axis for you between the 4th and the 10th house, which is really important because it deals with your relationship between your private foundation, your home life, and the life that you wish to build in the world, in your public career and vocation. So the 10th house will be everything also connected to your public role, your reputation, your ambitions and your responsibilities, maybe perhaps even as an authority figure in a larger world, or at least just in the vocation that you are occupying. You could become very, very aware of the role that you're playing, and whether that role is in alignment with your private life as well. So whenever we have Pluto in the area, and this is exactly why I did a Pluto in conjunction with Jupiter video, and I have released a ton of Pluto material, because whenever we have Pluto in this game of astrology, you're being asked to transform and change something on a very profound level. So if you want an extra supportive layer for this full moon, I suggest that you also check out my videos on Pluto and Pluto through the houses. So back to what is happening exactly around this full moon lunation. It could be that you notice that there are some old professional identities that doesn't fit you anymore. It has been kind of like lowering in the background for quite a while. This is not new to you. What is new is that how obvious that this becomes, because when we have Pluto in conjunction to the moon, full moon, this is going to be illuminated. And perhaps you are becoming a bit more serious about something you truly want to build that feels authentic to you and real to you, but that you have just felt so restricted in your circumstances and you couldn't do it, which has then created quite a level of tension between your public life and your home life, because if we're stressed in one area, it will affect the other one as well. And with this full moon, I could really see that there could be a culmination between your career situation, your work, the professional direction you're going towards. Maybe there's a change in your responsibility. Maybe you are finally being recognized for something you've been working on for a long time. or at least you're starting to recognize your own power, and perhaps that power has not been honored enough. That could also be something I could see for you, and then you will need to take action on it. So definitely something in regards to institutions as well, or authority figures could come into the light here. Really pay attention to where power is playing out in your life. If there are any hierarchies, power struggles, manipulations going on in the 10th house matters for you, now it's going to be so obvious to you. Let's say you've been working for a long time in a toxic work environment, and you have started to feel a lot that when you go home you need to just chill and watch something and eat, and you have no energy left, but you have been coping with it for quite a while this way. Now with this moon, it could be that you're like, no more, I can't compromise my health, my well-being, my home environment, my mood for still staying in this toxic work environment. So that could be a theme coming up right now, and Pluto is here to help you realize what is not sustainable for you to move forward. And I would say that also pay attention to the fact that Jupiter is transiting your 4th house until summer next year. So everything that is in regards to home, family, roots, how you nourish yourself, maybe even your ancestry, particularly on your maternal line, could come into illumination already with this full moon. There could be a strong intuition about wanting to connect to something very maternal or connected to your roots that you might not have been expressed before. And if I were you, I would listen to that voice, because that might exactly be what also changes your work environment in the direction that you're going towards. And then also really pay attention to your work-life balance and see what's coming up for you with this Aquarius moon, because this is an opportunity to make an honest assessment. At least if you're not able to get out of a work situation immediately, then make, at least for your mental clarity, make a timeline. I would say around 2 to 2 days after this illumination would be a great time to sit and journal on that in your life. Finally, I think a question that you could ask yourself, especially if you want to journal a bit or meditate on it, is that you could ask if the life you're building in this world has a solid foundation beneath it and can actually support it, and vice versa, because it could also be that your public life doesn't leave space for a nourishing foundation. So those two goes hand in hand, and they will be vital questions for you to investigate moving ahead, so that you can really lay the foundation for your next chapter. So that's what I have for you, dear Taurus rising. And if you would like to go deeper, you can also reach out to me. And I hope you like and subscribe, and I see you in another video. Bye for now. Hello, my Gemini risings. Well, this Aquarius full moon will be falling in your 9th house, which is the house of higher education, of travel, philosophy, religion, spirituality, publishing, also long distance travel. So there might be some of you deciding to do that under this lunation. It has to do with foreign countries and cultures, and just in general a larger worldview, and how you understand yourself in through that lens. What I always like to take a look at is the axis, and particularly now because we will be having Sun and Jupiter in Leo, which is landing in your 3rd house. And those are very strongly communicating under this full moon lunation. So there is some level of longer transformation going on in your life in regards to your beliefs and how you understand the world. This might be a moment in time, because whenever we have a full moon in conjunction with Pluto, there are things that you could not see before, but that is just becoming so apparent to you right now. So you might even have one of those that people call spiritual awakenings that comes very suddenly, or one day to another you wake up and you're like, wow, I just don't believe this anymore because it doesn't really fit with who I am and where I want to go in this life. And it's very interesting because you could be questioning recently for the past weeks, perhaps even months now, where you have been questioning so much yourself and your beliefs about yourself and about your role in the world. And now you could wake up literally thinking, I need to go to India because I need to learn, take a teacher certificate in yoga, or I need to study something in Australia. You could really get those light bulb moment around this full moon, or at least generate such thought that will lead you on a complete different path than the one that you have been walking up until now. And the only thing I would say to pay attention to make such decision, because when we have Leo, Jupiter and Leo, it really asks you to make decisions from your heart, from the intelligence of your heart. So if you have such epiphanies, really make sure to tap into the intelligence of your heart and ask if that's where it wants to go, and trust the answers. And again, with a full moon in conjunction to Pluto in your 9th house, there you have reached a culmination point of some sort, no matter what. It could be big and small, but most likely it will really be one of the bigger ones in regards to your education or culture, where you find yourself in the world. Some of you might even feel the strong need to relocate to a different part of the world. That would not surprise me. It could also be a time where a study or course that you have invested a lot of times in is coming to an end. And then if I were you and that is happening, I would ask myself honestly if that is in alignment with my higher purpose, and if it still feels like right to me. Because sometimes what happens is that we study something for a long time, and then we have almost overnight an insight that might make that study less relevant. Not in a negative way, but more in a transformative way. This could happen with Pluto as well. And then looking to the opposition to Jupiter and Leo in your 3rd house, again, this deals with your neighborhood, your neighbors, siblings, writing, speaking, learning, communication. So maybe you need to communicate your newfound ideas. Your voice needs to be expressed. Maybe you need to do a throat chakra cleaning if you're into that. Maybe you need to detoxify your throat chakra. And if you're into it, maybe this is time for sound healing and for sound frequency healing in general. And if that's not you just skip this. But that could have a profound effect on you under this illumination. And what else for you? Well, I would say I did quite a lot of videos about Pluto in general, Pluto through the houses, Pluto in opposition to Jupiter, because this is such a profound player in the cosmic game right now. So you might want to listen to those videos as well, find out where Pluto is natally placed in your birth chart, and then listen to that house, because that can really help you to perhaps support you in a difficult decision or something that you're feeling that needs to change in this time. And then finally, I would take a little bit of time to perhaps journal on what has recently changed in my beliefs, whether it is my beliefs about myself, my path in the world, or even on a philosophical level, because it's very likely that those beliefs has really been transforming the past couple of months. And now there's such a combination where you would need to make a decision, a conscious decision on how to move forward. Just to give like a very grounded example of what this could look like for you, Gemini risings, it could be something as simple as you have been working abroad in a company, and that company is not in alignment with your personal values and ethics. And now you need to ask yourself, what beliefs in me are still alive that keeps me still intertwined with this company? Or even something like, I wish to make my own road in life, I wish to be an entrepreneur, but I'm still finding myself working for everyone else. What belief is beneath your decisions of working for other people? Is it that you don't think that you can, that you're worthy of having a business, that you're not smart enough, that you don't have the money for it? What is holding you back? This is a good time to really assess and question those areas. And this will be a very supportive full moon for that, because there's a great deal of luck around this week where this lumination is taking place as well. So use that luck and use that lining of your lucky stars to go courageous towards the future you wish to see yourself in, instead of keeping yourself stuck in fear. That is super important for you. And that's what I have for you, Gemini risings. And as always, you can check the description box if you want to work with me personally on some of these matters. And if you like and subscribe to this channel, that would make me super happy too. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye for now. Cancer risings, welcome. Well, this full moon in Aquarius will be falling in your 8th house, which is opposite to the Sun and Jupiter and Leo in your 2nd house. So this illumination will really be highlighted around your 2nd and 8th house axis, which is one that deal with money, resources, ownership, your financial dependence or independence, but also value and trust, and what happens when your resources become connected to somebody else's resources. Because this lunation is in conjunct to Pluto, this can be a very interesting one. I do see a lot of positivity in it. However, make sure in regards to shared finances, such as debts and loans and taxes and inheritances and the investments that you make, maybe your insurances as well, that this money that involves perhaps another person or institution are healthy money, because there can sometimes be a tension in the 8th house in regards to what belongs to me, what belongs to you, where Pluto might come in and expose subconscious dependencies and perhaps adaptations within your psychological world. Let's say that, just some examples, let's say that you are having a student debt and you have been defining yourself to be in debt for so long that you forgot about your ability for abundance, or that you are with a spouse where sometimes perhaps that person earns more than you or you earn more than them, and that has created some psychological power struggles or hierarchies between you that is then blocking for true vulnerability and true interdependency between the two of you, even in friendships or business partnerships as well. But the 8th house is very psychological. And when we have Pluto coming in under full moon illumination, Pluto is asking us to take a very clear look at what we were not able to see before. So there could really be these light bulb moments. And this energy has been present for a while, but the full moon in Aquarius makes the less obvious very obvious now. And perhaps there could also just be elements of, financial entanglements and trust and dependency. And this can play out in very different ways, but I'll give you a few examples. So again, entanglements, like where might you be playing into subconscious power struggle with other people if finances are in the picture? Where about trust, where do you either trust too much or not at all? And dependency, where might you be either too independent or too dependent? those could definitely be highlighted. And what Pluto really wants you to do with this newfound knowledge is it wants to support you to become more empowered in your own psychology and be more able to look at your own subconscious patterns when it comes to other people's resources, even areas that are more taboo, like your sexual orientation or death and rebirth and transformation areas where perhaps you are not being truthful to yourself, and now Pluto jumps into the picture and makes some level of disturbance. And that is also exactly why I've spent so much time recently on creating content exactly about what Pluto means in astrology, but also Pluto through all the houses, because this is created for you as a library to under these circumstances perhaps take a listen to those videos and check where Pluto is in your chart, because that will give you very practical tools to how to deal with transformations where Pluto is highly activated in the sky. I would also say something that could come into your attention right now could be repayment or taxes. There could be like a financial agreement of some sort that could reach a level of just turning point. If you share any finances with a partner, family member, business partner, you might become more aware of whether that agreement is actually balanced and fair. And now it's time to take courageous action on that, whatever comes up under this. I would also say it could be a great opportunity to ask yourself questions like, who is actually controlling the money? Am I being a gatekeeper to myself and my abundance? Meaning, do I hold any psychological or subconscious beliefs that I'm not worthy, that it can't be easy for me to have my own money or earn more money? Do you have a belief that you will always be in debt, or that tax institutions are coming after you? Anything that is based on a fear frequency and just lurks under the surface can come up now. And even if it feels very uncomfortable, Pluto will reward you for taking a look at it. And so that is the thing. And I would say with this, for you, Cancer rising, pay extra attention to what you spend money on, like how you manage your debts, your taxes, your loans, anything about shared accounts in general. Take an extra look at it and see if there's something you might not have been able to see before. It might even be a wonderful, wonderful time for you to discover financial plans that will be more beneficial for you. Let's say you did an investment and that investment is paying off, 1%, and you suddenly meet the opportunity to double down on that, and you will have a bigger revenue of some sort. Now is a wonderful time to that, because having this encounter with Jupiter and Leo as well, transiting in Leo for the next year, there is a great deal of luck in the sky as well, and support. And I will mention, when Leo and Jupiter and Leo is involved, every choice that you make needs to be in accordance to your heart. It needs to be authentic, and it needs to be an activation of your heart center. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I can just really recommend to check out meditations on the intelligence of the heart math institute meditations as well, because it is proven that we do have an electromagnetic field of energy around us that is coming from the heart. So that might be worth for you to check out as well, if that calls for you, Cancer risings. And if you wish to just dive deeper into your own chart with me, you can check my offerings in the description box. And I hope you would like and subscribe to this channel. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye for now. Hello, my Leo risings. Well, this Aquarius full moon will be falling in your 7th house, and it will be in opposition to both the Sun and Jupiter and Leo in your 1st house. the 7th house is about the committed relationships we have, whether it's, marriage, close, long-term romantic relationships, friendships, the close ones, can be our business partnerships, any of those one-to-one close relationships that sort of makes us aware that we can not just act from our own centered self, but we also need to take the other person into consideration in the decisions and choices that we make in life where they are involved. And because we have Pluto in conjunct to this lunation, it's just becoming very obvious to you where there are connections, close connections, that might not be in alignment with you anymore. It will also be very obvious to you those that are in alignment with you. So I would pay a great deal of attention to that. And Pluto is a very transformational planet. And that is also the reason why recently I have released so much content about Pluto through all the 12 houses in your natal chart, that I highly recommend for you to check out. Check where Pluto is in your chart so that it can be of guidance to you if there's anything in regards to letting go or transformation that you would like to have a broader perspective on. So for you Leo risings, there is a longer transformation happening in regards to your relationships and partnership dynamics. So it doesn't mean that your relationship is coming to an end necessarily. It could just be that some of them need some sort of transformation and needs to be something else than they are at this moment. It can even mean that a long-term relationship that has felt maybe a little dead for you for a while can have the potential to be ignited again, which is also exciting. Because what Pluto can do is that it can really deepen the relationship just as much as it can expose what isn't working. So it really depends on whether it's in alignment with you or not, that if this lunation show one or another, don't resist it, but trust it, and make sure that what you receive is coming from the heart and not a fear. And it will be a really good time for you to make a little space for journaling and really reflect over your closest relationships, even business partnerships if you have any, and ask yourself questions about, like, am I committed enough? Am I devoted enough? Are there a good foundation of trust between me and that other person in question? Are there some things that might be, too intertwined, too dependent? Are there healthy boundaries? Equality in those relationships become a really, really important thing when Pluto is transiting through your 7th house. And Pluto being in your 7th house is something you would need to get used to, my Leo risings. It has been going on for already a while that you would feel this energy, but for the next 20 years you will have this Pluto transit in your house of close relationships. So that makes this lunation even more important to make a solid assessment of the questions that we just went through about, commitment, trust, control, dependency, your boundaries, and whether those relationships are equally beneficial as well. And with, again, the full moon being conjunct Pluto, it is as if there's something within that larger relationship story that becomes visible now and becomes a turning point in your close connections. So this is even more important now to take the time with this full moon to reflect on it, because that can be the blueprint foundation for you moving and navigating those commitments in a more beneficial way for both you and for the person in question. And for some Leo risings, this could be that there are relationships that become more serious, like maybe you have been dating someone and you want to commit to them, or like you're getting married. It's definitely a time to make decision about commitments in general. Also, contracts and business partnerships can be an important stage of this as well. And then, for others, relationships might come up to the surface to a level where you can see them for what they are and not what you wish them to be. That can be something that I could see for some of you Leo risings as well. And questions about whether, you're compromising too much for being in certain relationships as well. Power imbalances are always very important to address when we have a Pluto transit, because Pluto will always expose levels of control and power and hierarchy in general. And I also see that the Sun conjunct Jupiter and Leo in your first house will put an enormous amount of emphasis on you, like how you view yourself, your personality, maybe even how you dress, because this is also about your identity, your direction, your body, your character, and how you approach life. And this is quite a big year for you if you are like a Leo rising, because you will have Jupiter transiting your first house into next summer. So there will be just a great expansion. And I would also say that Jupiter is a very benefic planet. However, it expands everything that it comes into contact with. So if there are any unhealthy patterns in regards to your self-image, this lunation in Aquarius might very well reveal that, so that you can be stopping that pattern before it becomes too big. So now is a very beautiful window of time to just be a little bit more assertive and a little bit more aware of where you want to go, both in your personal life and in the life of committed relationships. And it could even be something like you've always seen yourself as a single person the rest of your life, but you have been dating someone and it's getting serious, and you would need to choose between holding on to that old identity or committing to that person, because they cannot coexist anymore. And so really pay attention to that, my Leo risings, and also make sure that in the direction that you are changing, that you have your relationships supporting that, and those that doesn't support it would either require you to communicate better or be willing to let them go, so that you both can get something more in alignment. And finally, I would say to think about this full moon as an energy that had been culminating for a while, and now you have a unique moment in time to see something so clearly that you cannot unsee it in regards to your 7th house of committed relationships, friendships, business deals. So make sure to take this opportunity of the energy of this full moon to be very real with yourself in regards to where you want to go personally and how you want to commit to other people, because that will lay out a blueprint, a foundation for you to have much more of a smooth sail throughout this year, where Jupiter and Leo will be transiting your first house. And that's what I have for you, Leo risings. If you would like to work deeper with yourself and perhaps have a natal reading with me, you can check my offerings in the description box. And remember to like and subscribe to this channel. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye for now. Hello, my Virgo risings. This full moon in Aquarius will be falling in your 6th house, and it will be opposite to the Sun and Jupiter in Leo in your 12th house. And the 6th house describes what you do in your everyday life, like your routines, your work, your obligations, your habits, your skills and craftsmanship. And in general, think about the systems that you keep in order to make everyday life more smooth, and things that you need to do, like brushing your teeth and taking a shower and going to work, or whatever you might be doing, something that you have obligations around. This is also about health habits, how you treat your own body, what you feed your own body, and this is really important for this lunation, because we already have Pluto in this area of your life. So Pluto will be conjunct to this full moon, meaning that when we have a full moon, everything that comes into contact with it will be exposed, will be revealed, will be very obvious. So for you Virgo risings, there will be a longer transformation happening around your daily life, how it's structured, your health habits, your day-to-day work, your craftsmanship. And there will be what I call a blueprint opportunity right now with this full moon to lay out a foundation that is actually sustainable for you. Because with Pluto here, there are patterns and habits, perhaps unhealthy habits, that can be exposed and revealed right now, where you're like, oh, I didn't see this before about myself or my work, and now I just see it and I can't unsee it, and now I will need to take some kind of action. It could have the consequences that you would want to change the way that you work. Maybe your responsibilities have to be changed. Maybe you take on too much or too little responsibility. It could be that a routine that once worked for you is like not working anymore. You know, like how when you take a supplement, you're not supposed to take it all the time. You know, you take it in the moment that is working and sustainable for your body. But if you no longer need it, it's just extra things that your kidneys would need to detox from your system, so it's no longer really good for you. Think about that as well. Think of what's sustainable and whether you have outdated some of your routines and optimizations in your daily life. This is actually becoming a very practical full moon for you, in the sense that it is things in your everyday life that will come into ignition and be obvious to you to an extent they haven't been before. And that is just the ebb and flow of life. That's something that worked once, we need to say goodbye to. The conjunction again with Pluto, really the interesting thing about Pluto is that if there are anything hidden, like hierarchies, control, power games of any sorts, they will be exposed. So now we connect it to your responsibilities or your day-to-day life. If there anything in that area that is built on power systems that are not healthy, or responsibilities that are not healthy, those needs to be addressed. They need to come into the light right now. It could be, a work project that culminate, or a situation at work that could be changing, or that you have certain obligations and responsibilities that you need to give to someone else. Maybe you work for yourself and you have too much that you do yourself. Now is a great time to hire someone that could do those things for you, where you sort of redistribute certain responsibilities so that you can have a healthier day-to-day routine. Or again, like if there's any sort of routines that has just become insufficient, now try to do something else. If you're always going for leg day at the gym, maybe you have become unfocused on your upper part of your body, and now you need to change up that. It could be something as simple as this, or that you drink too much or too little water, take too many supplements or too little. So really look into the balance of those everyday things that you do. Like sometimes it's so silly in astrology, but even things like having a toothpaste that is not really good for you anymore, that you've been using the same toothpaste for 20 years, maybe it could make wonders for your gums to change to another toothpaste, because that will also go under your 6th house. So just a silly little example of that. Yes, a question I would really pay attention to, I think, under this lunation for you, Virgo risings, is that why are you actually doing all the things that you're doing? Like, are they necessary? Or do you do something out of responsibility that you don't really like, and then you build up resentment secretly, which is also really bad for your health? And I think those would be the most important things to look at. And then also I want to address the Sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo in your 12th house. That is a very different image coming to me for your path ahead, because the 12th house is everything about, the hidden areas of life, the dream world. It governs hospitals, it governs institutions, what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on in our own unconscious. Everything that we can't really control, if we are not aware of it, will be going on there. So you have Jupiter moving through your 12th house for into the next summer. So even if this is a full moon in Aquarius, your 12th house opposition to that is really important to address already now, because there might be some subconscious patterns that makes you take on the responsibilities that we talked about before, and you cannot give up on those responsibilities that are weighing you down before you have addressed the parts of you that invisibly keep them alive. So now is also a great time for you to consider. You will have a great deal of luck in regards to therapy, perhaps even hypnosis, working consciously with your breath to go into an altered state of consciousness in meditation. All those things will really be of great benefit for you, Virgo risings, particularly from now and the year ahead. So I just wanted to address that as well. There's a lot going on behind the scenes for you. So be ready to see yourself change and be excited about it. And if you are experiencing anything particularly in your personal life that you would like to work on, you can always reach out to me and we can take a look at it. And for now, I will leave you with a question that you can journal on under this full moon. And the question is, what in your daily life genuinely needs your effort? And what are you continuing to carry just because you are accustomed to carrying it? So that's what I have for you, my Virgo risings, and I hope you like and subscribe to this channel, and I see you in another one. Bye for now. Hello, Libra rising. So for you, this full moon in Aquarius will be falling in your 5th house, and then you will have the Sun and Jupiter in Leo in your 11th house. So the 5th house is where we create something because it comes from us, our authentic self, our joy, our creativity. And this can be everything in art and writing and music and business idea, maybe a personal project. But it can also be around, romance and dating and just pleasure and sexuality. And it's also the house that governs children. So it describes things that you enjoy in life. It describes how you want them to develop and what you want from a true, authentic level to invest in. Sometimes, because this is such a wonderful house, sometimes this can be difficult for people to deal with, actually, if they have not allowed themselves to experience joy and creativity just for the sake of it for a very long time. And you will be having Pluto moving through this area of your chart for quite a long time. And so for you, Libra rising, there is a longer transformation on the way in regards to your creativity, your pleasures in life, how you are joyful and youthful, and how your personality will change in many ways. Because, for some people, this can play out in the way that you become much more serious about a creative practice or project, that you feel that, I don't need to separate my joy and my expressions and from, my work, because I am joy and expression. You could be taking a personal hobby and make it more important and give it a greater importance in your life and prioritize that way more. But it can also be that Pluto can expose how much your self-expression has been shaped by the approval of other people. And that's the more harsh thing that Pluto can expose in regards to the 5th house. And under this full moon, this will be felt. There will be a illumination that gives you the ability to take an honest look at where have you closed your own joy off because other people did not approve of you. Or where are you still holding yourself back because you think you're not allowed to be joyful, because if you are, other people might not, might reject you even. And when you have this full moon in Aquarius being in conjunct to Pluto in this area, you might reach a point in your life where, it's just impossible to ignore if you have any people in your life where they are restricting you from your creative and joyful essence. It could also just be a project that really matters a lot to you and are close to your heart, that you have been, that you kept postponing for more serious things in life. And now there's a culmination point where it knocks the door again, to an extent where you can't not overlook it. So maybe you decide in this period of time that you want to perform or publish or launch or finish something of importance to your heart, and you are willing to take the risk of people not liking it, because you don't want to stay within this imprisonment anymore, and you don't want to imprison your own joyfulness anymore. There could also be something around, dating or romantic relationships that could become more clear for you. And if you are a parent, there could be some important things around your children, some important news that would be most likely very positive and could change your family. Pluto is also asking us to look beneath the events that are so unfolding at this moment, especially when we have a full moon that exposes everything. So if you are holding yourself back in life in regards to your creativity or joyfulness or even dating or romance, now is a good time for you to ask why. Why are you holding yourself back? Why are you restricting yourself? Because there can be some deep subconscious wounds that comes to the surface with Pluto here, and this full moon makes it impossible to see it. And if we look to the opposite of this lunation, we have Sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo, which are happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is about friendships and groups and communities, professional and social networks. If you do any volunteer work, it's also about your visions in life, the path you want to walk. And everyone in a broader community that might be able to connect you to opportunities beyond what you are capable of creating on your own. So Jupiter could be expanding your social world, and you will start seeing that now also with this full moon, but there can be some restriction and some opposing energies in regards to that perhaps you are not really having any communities that feels joyful, and therefore it feels very restricting. And Jupiter, because he will be transiting here for the next year, in your 11th house, you might be feeling a need to change those circumstances and take on different roles, maybe involve yourself in another community or another friend group that will support your joyful nature way more. And that question will become very important for you to ask around this full moon in Aquarius as well. So be ready to receive clarity, be ready to receive some insights that you felt you couldn't reach before. It could even be in regards to what do you need in romantic life, how do you want to date if you're single, and what hobbies do you want to invest more in. And if you have any valuable insights about this in this week, I would really pay close attention to it, because they will lay out the blueprint foundation for how you can expand yourself in this area of life for the next year ahead. So this is not just a full moon that is lasting just for a few days. It's a full moon that has an energetic imprint, particularly on your 5th and 11th house, a year ahead. So really be aware of that. And perhaps it's time now to dive into what you want to experience, and allow yourself to be more joyful and not take life so seriously, so to speak. Like Shakespeare would say that, life is a game, and perhaps that's a perspective that you could take upon on your new path right now. Loosen up a bit. So those are the most important things that I see for you, Libra risings, at this moment in time. If there are any subjects personally that comes up for you that you would like to dive deeper into, you can check my offerings in the description box. And finally, because Pluto is such a major player in the cosmic game right now, I highly recommend for you to listen to my videos about Pluto, specifically Pluto through the houses in a natal chart. You can check out where your natal Pluto is in a whole sign system, and use this guidance as a sort of a good friend in a period of transformation to understand yourself better. So that's what I have for you, my Libra risings, and make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, and I see you in another video. Bye for now. Welcome, Scorpio rising. Well, this full moon in Aquarius will fall in your 4th house, opposite the Sun and Jupiter and Leo in your 10th house. So the 4th house describes your home and your living situation, but also it goes so much deeper than just your physical home. It is very much connected to your ancestry, your family, your private life, and in general just the foundation that you build your life on. And when you have Pluto that is already moving through this area of your chart, there is for you, Scorpio rising, a start of a longer transformation that is in regards to your home and your family and your sense of where you belong. You could be feeling this for a while, and you could be feeling that there are some undercurrents, some shifts in the way that you also nourish yourself, the way that you build a family, the way that maybe even perhaps your physical home nourishes you. You could maybe feel suddenly very called to areas of, your ancestry, your roots. Where do I come from? What is the lineage that I carry? How about my maternal line? You may wish to find out more about that as well, and go deeper and go through generations. And I would say that when we have Pluto in the 4th house, it can really bring up with this lunation as well family dynamics that might need to be revisited and looked at with an honest, truthful view. Maybe you become just so much more aware of patterns that has existed for years, and because Pluto is involved, have in mind that Pluto will really have the ability to expose power dynamics, control dynamics, hidden agendas, also hierarchies that might not be healthy for you at all. And I would also say that there might be some themes about responsibilities and ways that you nourish yourself and look at yourself that you might have inherited, and they can come into the light now in a way where you can take an honest look at whether that's healthy for you, yourself, and even your family. And because the full moon is conjunct to Pluto, when we have a full moon, it's full illumination. We can see things clearly that we couldn't see before. It's almost like you could have something from the past that is returning for you to resolve it now in regards to your 4th house. It could be, you are becoming aware of a living situation that are not good for you, or that you need a different kind of stability in order to do better, in your public life, in your career. Or you could just have a strong realization that the foundation that you're living in has to change. And I think it's also important that we take a look at your sun, the sun conjunct Jupiter and Leo in your 10th house, because what makes this full moon really important for Scorpio risings is that you will have Jupiter expanding the part of your chart that is connected to career and vocation and public visibility and professional opportunities into summer next year. So it could be that you, because Jupiter just expands everything he comes into contact with, and although he's mainly a benefic planet, if there are things in that area in your professional life that doesn't work for you, that will be exposed as well, and that might call for you to take action. It could be that you are ready to take on a larger role in your public life, in your career. It could also be that you start seeing how you receive more attention for your work. Maybe there's an opportunity for, a leadership role or more recognition, or a direction you wish to go in for a very long time. And some of the first signs of that might be prevalent with you around this full moon, because that sort of marks the beginning of the next year's unfolding, with having Leo, Jupiter and Leo in your 10th house. And I would say that there's a reason why I've uploaded so many videos recently about Pluto in astrology and your natal Pluto through the 12 houses, which is because Pluto is such a major player, including in this full moon, in the cosmic game right now. And Pluto will really require a lot of us to transform the areas in life that he's touching and the planets he comes into communication with. And so imagine that this full moon right now in Aquarius in your 4th house, and then having this awareness that perhaps something in your home environment is not working, and it is almost like this full moon is giving you a glimpse into what is not working, so that you can course correct it now before you burn yourself out, because Pluto will be transiting here for the next 20 years. So if you do not start to make a healthy blueprint for yourself now, you can imagine that you will just repeat things that doesn't work for you. So this is a wonderful opportunity in time to really course correct some patterns or transform some family patterns that is influencing maybe even your ambition, because the 4th and the 10th house works together for you in such a strong way that whatever good choices you make in your home environment will have a direct good choice in your work environment as well. So really take that into consideration right now, Scorpio rising. And yeah, I would say if there's something you would like to work on a personal level, or if you have any of these themes coming up for you and you would like someone to have a look at what's happening for you in the sky on a personal level, you can check my offerings in the description box. And I will leave you with a question that you can journal under this full moon. And that would be, what needs to change in your foundation to support where your life is trying to go now? That is so important for you, Scorpio risings. And please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye for now. Welcome, Sagittarius rising. So this full moon in Aquarius will be falling in your 3rd house, opposite to the Sun and Jupiter in Leo in your 9th house. And the 3rd house is describing how you gather and exchange information. It rules communication, your perception, writing, speaking, learning, even your siblings and neighbors, your local environment, and the connections you would interact with on a regular basis in your nearby environment. So Pluto is already moving through this area of your chart. So for you, Sagittarius rising, there is a longer period of transformation happening around how you think, how you perceive the world, and how you communicate and process the information. And it is as if this Aquarius full moon will really come in and illuminate areas in which this subject is maybe not flowing so easily for you, or maybe there are restrictions of some sort or limited beliefs. It could be that you start to take some subjects more serious than you did before, like maybe you feel the urge to suddenly start researching something in depth. Maybe you want to, write something. Maybe you want to become a bit more selective about the information that you consume on a daily level, and what you choose to listen to, because you now have a bigger awareness of how that truly can influence the way that you think and the way that you perceive the world. And since this full moon is conjunct to Pluto, it seems there will be like a combination that will be much more clear to you. It could be that there's a conversation that reveals something important for you, or information that you've been waiting for will show up in this period of time. And it could be like, a teaching or writing project could reach maybe an important stage for you, or maybe the stage where you feel like, oh, I really need to start writing that novel, that poetry collection Something like that could be happening. It could also be that there's something with a sibling or your local environment that require for you to make some sort of decision. A decision regards to if you need to have a deep talk or you need to communicate a need that you have not been able to really put into words before. And this is because when Pluto is involved, I would really say pay attention to what is being said versus what remained unspoken. And what do I mean about that? I mean that right now, with this full moon, there will be a heightened sensitivity in your perception. So sometimes, when you have communication with people, you can have the sense there's something unspoken here. And because Pluto is involved, Pluto is always really good at exposing hidden power structures, power struggles, hierarchies, power dynamics in general, manipulation, and you will become very, very sensitive to that in this window of time. And it could be that maybe there's a conversation you just avoided for a very long time, and now you discover some information, or maybe you understand the situation in a different light now, and how you have been thinking about it, and that something needs to change. That could be a manifestation definitely under this full moon. Another pattern I would pay attention to is that you have there is the Sun in Leo conjunct with Jupiter in Leo in your 9th house. And because Jupiter is your ruling planet, I would give this transit extra weight for you, Sagittarius rising, because the 9th house is naturally connected with many Sagittarian themes, such as an interest in higher education or traveling, especially long distance travel, foreign countries, philosophy, religion, publishing, teaching, even law, and like larger belief systems through which you view life or understand life. And because you have Jupiter moving through this house for about a year into next summer, there could be a true expansion of this area of your life that feels very distant. Maybe you feel the calling to take a course or qualification. Maybe you feel a calling to relocate or at least travel for a long time. It could also be that you would have some encounters with people from different cultures that become very important for you moving ahead. And I would say that this full moon in general create like a very important relationship between those two houses, because now you can see that the 3rd house is more in your local environment and your ability to communicate it, and the 9th house is about having a bigger, broader idea. And these two areas of your life are trying to communicate something new in this moment. Perhaps you need to go on a travel to gain a new perspective, to finally write that book. Maybe you need to speak to your neighbor about something between you that wasn't good. Maybe they have always been, going into your garden and taking your flowers, and you never said that they crossed your boundaries, and you don't want them to do that, even though you like them as a person. But, this is just a silly example of how this can manifest. But as a Sagittarius rising, I would really pay attention to your tendency to move too quickly toward a large decision based on perhaps an old perception of life. Let's say that you find out in this period of life that you have limited yourself because you don't really speak up about what you truly need, what you truly want, what you truly believe in. And now that has shaped your belief system into thinking that you're someone who just needs to not speak up about it. And now this really affects everything in your life. So don't rush too quickly towards a conclusion right now. Try to see if you can stay present under the energy of this full moon instead, to see where are there limitations in the way that you communicate and express yourself that are being exposed right now. It could be that you suddenly realize from almost one day to another that you have believed something about yourself that isn't true, and now you're ready to let it go now that it came into the light. And it can be a very, very, very influential and strong period of time for you to learn something new, to do your research, to write about it, to teach, and to travel and publish whatever is important to your heart. So pay attention also to conversations around in this week, where maybe it feels almost as if there's a person placed on your path to give you a specific message, or you can overhear something in public where you're like, oh my God, they just answered what I've been asking for. I would pay attention to any incoming, messages out of nowhere, maybe emails or friends reaching out that you haven't talked to for a long time. And that will be the most vital areas of life that is being activated by this full moon in Aquarius right now for you. So really a time to both balance out your inner world, like how you communicate with yourself, and your ability to communicate your inner self to your closest environment. And I've been making a lot of videos recently about Pluto, the planet, what it represents in astrology, what it means in a natal chart. And I'm doing so because Pluto in particular is such a major player in the cosmic game right now. So you can see in this full moon that Pluto is conjunct and really involved right now, also with this lunation. So if you find some obstacles along the way, or something where you know that you need to transform and change something, but it's just really feels hidden or inaccessible to you, try to look to those Pluto videos that I have uploaded, because some of them might have some advice that you can find useful in your day-to-day life. And also, if you feel called to it, I do offer private readings, and we can work around specific themes of your life and transitions and all of these things. So you can reach out if you feel like it. And as always, remember to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye for now. Capricorn rising. Well, for you, this full moon in Aquarius will be falling in your second house, and in opposition to the Sun and Jupiter and Leo in your 8th house. And so now we see this activation between your 2nd and 8th house axis, which is something that deals with, the way that you own your money, your resources, your material security, also your self-image, self-worth, and then in opposition to shared finances, investments, and financial obligations. And the 2nd house is the house that describes what belongs to you and, the way that you build something for yourself. This is an incredible important time, because that's something a lot of people overlook with the 2nd house. But the 2nd house is so connected to your sense of self, your self-worth as well. So even if it's, about finances and possessions and resources and skills and everything that gives you material stability, it is also important to highlight the foundation on which you manifest and have those things in your life. So the relationship of your sense of feeling worthy, your sense of feeling lovable to receive, is incredibly highlighted at this moment of this moon. And the reason why I want to emphasize this is because we have Pluto in conjunction to your 2nd house in this lunation as well. And Pluto here will be moving through this area of your chart for quite a long time. And there will be a need to really redefine your material connections, like how you relate to the possessions that you have and how you relate to yourself. And for you, Capricorn rising, there is just really a focus around your security and how you create resources for yourself, where this full moon is almost laying out the blueprint for the new version of you that you can become if you choose to work with Pluto's transformative energy. And this is also exactly why recently I've released so many videos about Pluto through the 12 houses in your natal chart, so that you can check out where is your Pluto residing, which house, so you can get some support and insights on how to work with the transitions of Pluto as well, because Pluto is not necessarily a very convenient transit, however, is a very valuable one for becoming the version of yourself that you always wish to be. And I would say the themes, particularly if we go back to this full moon in itself, laying out a blueprint, it is about your income that will be changing, the way that you develop a different connection to how you earn money, how you become more serious, maybe about building financial independence for yourself. Maybe you start questioning if something you have invested in is still worth your time, your resources, your attention. Because Pluto is in conjunction to the moon, will be exposing everything that might have been hidden for you before. You might have felt it for the past weeks that something was coming to the surface, like a new structure, but you couldn't quite pin down what it was, and that has been bothering you. Now, with Pluto conjunct to this full moon, there is a moment in time where things would just be so clear to you. Pluto will point out subconscious power struggles, hierarchy, manipulation, control of any kind, whether it's regards to, external people or circumstances, or maybe ways in which you control yourself. Maybe you are working against what would actually help you to grow and build more resources for yourself, because you have a substantial belief that you are not worthy or not good enough. And that's why I also want to emphasize that the second house is so connected to our self-worth and sense of self as well. And it tends to go hand in hand in the way that we choose to make money in this lifetime. And it is complex because it is this duality between sometimes feeling that you measure yourself and your success compared to the money that you build or attract. But then at the same time, you kind of need to have a trust in yourself and a belief in yourself that you are worthy of that, because you can become extremely wealthy and still feeling very empty inside and feeling not worthy of that wealth, and then screw it up in one way or another. If it's not about money, maybe you just create problems in other areas of your life because you are sort of in a state where you still believe subconsciously that you do not you do not deserve this level of abundance that you have built for yourself. And Pluto, working with the moon here, will really reveal those subconscious beliefs, maybe even beliefs that you have inherited through family patterns, through belief systems, through cultures, through institutions as well. Another thing that could come up for you right now is that, are you staying in any kind of work that you have already outgrown because there is financial uncertainty if you change your direction? That could be something that would come up and be highlighted, and that you need to make a standpoint about. And I really think that you should reevaluate, spend this moment to reevaluate the money and resources that is in your life right now, and maybe make sure to see or stay open to other possibilities for making the same amount of money. Maybe you feel a deep calling to change the way that you connect with money and belongings, and maybe you feel a need to, open up your own business, sell all of your belongings because they belong to your old life. Allow yourself to that level of liberation if that's what your heart is telling you to do in this transition. And I would really pay attention to value, not just in the form of money, but value in particular time, because really with this full moon, think deeper about how every single minute of your life is so valuable that if someone came now and said like, I will give you 10 billions if you die tomorrow, of course you would not take that money, because it's worth nothing. Like, you can't buy time. You know, if your life ends and you focused only on money and never have time to do what you truly wanted to do, then you would just be filled with so many regrets. And the reason why I also highlight this is that directly opposite of this, you will have your sun. There is the sun, and then you have Jupiter and Leo transiting your 8th house up until next summer. And the 8th house is a house that also to some extent deal with your psychology. It deals with shared finances, your partner's income, the debt and taxes and inheritance, insurances, investments, business assets. And it is the house also naturally connected to Pluto and transformation. So there might be something in your psychology that really needs to expand and be changed, because when you have Pluto transiting here, you're being asked to tap more into your heart for answers. And a good way of doing so, I can recommend, is heart meditations. You can check out the magnetic field of the heart math institute. You can just focus on your heart center when you do meditation. There's so many ways of connecting with your heart, because this will be vital for you to maybe overcome some subconscious levels of scarcity and lack and intertwinement with maybe other people's debt or other people's neglected ways of not nurturing financial abundance, and perhaps you're taking that on you even energetically, and this would be a good time for you to become aware of that. And then finally, I would also mention that since there is this lunation with the Aquarius full moon, it could be a good time to take an honest look at your financial obligations in general, make a financial plan, make some goals of where you want to go, write down the numbers, because if it stays fluffy, if it just stays like, I want to make more money, yeah, but how much and how are you going to get there? And I would not miss this opportunity to take an honest look at it. And sometimes that requires us to feel sad for a while, because maybe we feel we didn't make the best choices earlier, but nonetheless, now is the perfect moment to bring it into the light when you have a full moon and a chance to liberate yourself at this moment. And I would leave you with a central question right now that you can choose to journal on with this full moon. You can ask yourself, what gives you a genuine financial security? And where is that security dependent on resources you don't fully control? Because if that is dependent on resources that you don't control, there might be some power struggles, some hierarchies, something that Pluto wants to reveal to you that you are intertwined with, that you need to set yourself free from, so that you can create your own luck and your own independency. So yeah, for you, Capricorn rising, this is what is most prevalent with this Aquarius full moon. I would say in general, it is such a lucky one. So the stars are aligning for you when you are ready to work with the energy of Pluto and willing and ready to let go of versions of yourself that are really not serving you into where you want to go. That's what I have for you, Capricorn risings. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, and I catch you in another video. Bye for now. Aquarius rising. So this full moon in Aquarius is falling in your first house. So this is quite a big one for you. And in opposite, you have the Sun and Jupiter and Leo in your 7th house, which is the house of close relationships. So your first house describes your identity, describes your body, how you dress, your character, how you approach life, and also how people perceive you, and the direction that you are personally moving in. This is I am house. So this is all about you, Aquarius risings, which is a very exciting illumination. And I will add to this, if you have your ascendant around 5, 6, 7 degrees, this will be an even stronger lunation for you. And so the thing is that Pluto is already moving through Aquarius. So you are becoming familiar with this energy. You're becoming familiar with sides of yourself that is not serving you, that needs a transformative approach. And there are some particular areas of life that you will see through the next many decades, 20 years, where you have Pluto here, that you are really moving rapidly through life in such a way where everything that doesn't serve you and your independence and how you perceive yourself, you're ready to let go of it. You're so done with any forms of manipulation, power games, control, anything that dims your life and how you move through life. And you will see that this starts to become so obvious with this lunation. It's almost like the official starting point for how you become very familiar with Pluto's energy in your life. It's a very long transit, as I mentioned, so it will completely just for a very long time work with your relationship to your identity and your choices around that, how you present yourself to the world as well. And this is wonderful when you're someone who is Aquarius rising, because you are an original thinker. You want to expand your world. You want to progress, and you want to try different versions of yourself. But at the same time, having Pluto in conjunct to the moon at this lunation, you might become aware of something like an old identity that is still not quite working in the direction you want to go. It could be that you have been making some sort of personal change that you have been developing for quite some time, and now you recognize that you have changed way more than you realized, and there could be a little moment where it's almost scary for you, because you're like, wow, I changed so much, no wonder that I don't relate to these people anymore, this place or this circumstance. And in particular, there could be something around your appearance, your body, your aura, the personal direction you take your life into that could be that could really reach a considerate turning point at this moment. It's almost as if it's laying out the blueprint for who you know that you are already becoming, and then you are ready to work with this Plutonian energy for a long, long way ahead. And one of the questions I would consider if I was Aquarius rising, it would be, what happens when you stop maintaining the identity that you know that you already outgrown, and what choices could you make differently if you are not trying to organize them around the person that you've been up until now. And that might sound really like, oh yeah, duh, obvious, but it could have been running on your subconscious level for quite some time, and then when we have a full moon exposing it, you'll be like, oh shit, I really need to do something different if I want to move forward with expanding my personality and the way that I present myself in the world. And then in direct opposition to this, we have right now the Sun in Leo, and then we have Jupiter in Leo, and Jupiter in Leo will be transiting your 7th house until summer next year. And the 7th house governs committed relationship and marriage, business partnerships if you have any, also contracts such as, working with clients or just those one-to-one relationships that are important to you. And Jupiter is a very benevolent planet, and a planet known for his luck, but he also expands everything that he comes into contact with, meaning that if there are anything in this field in your 7th house that are not working for you, well, that will be obvious too, because it will be really expanded to an extent where you cannot overlook it. So for some Aquarius risings, this could be that, this will be a very significant period for relationships. You could meet someone and develop like a really close connection with them that is long lasting, or you could really commit to an already existing partnership to the next level and be like, I really want to devote myself to this. Or you could enter a period of time where you're really committed to working with people and create opportunities that you just couldn't access before, because obviously before you were acting from a different sense of self, a sense of personality and who you are in the world. And it can also just expand in general business relationships, clients. You could become more visible to collaborations and great contracts for you in this period of time. And I would say, be very aware of, in this lunation, are there relationships that needs to leave your life? Are there outgrown versions of yourself that you try to bring back to life that you really need to let go of? Because this is not a time of compromising. This lunation really hits hard in your first house, so make sure to be true to yourself, and then all the relationships you have in your 7th house will fall into place based on that. And one thing that you can journal on under this full moon would be everything that you need to pay attention to in regards to, personal choices, decisions that are important for you, traits in your identity that you need to look at. It could be your appearance that really gets your glow up, and it could also be, how you perceive yourself, how you talk to yourself, and how you hype yourself, because that's super important for you to stay on the track of feeling this connection with yourself. And a question that you could journal on would be, who are you becoming, and what does that change about the relationships that you choose and allow into your life? And I will also mention that I did quite a lot of videos on Pluto recently, because Pluto just plays such a big role in the overall cosmos and astrology right now. And it can be a planet that can bring up tension, bring up opposition, bring up deep transformations that needs to take place, and can also feel scary at the same time. So I will encourage you to listen to, my videos on Pluto through the 12 houses. You can check in your own natal chart where Pluto is residing for you, and then you can take a listen and see if there are any insights there that could help you through this transition period of time, because if anything, you will be able to recognize Pluto knocking at the door if you start having friction between who you are now in this world versus your relationships, because then there's something out of alignment with your true, authentic self. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius rising, and remember to like and subscribe to this channel, and I hope to meet you in another video. Bye for now. Welcome, Pisces rising. So for you, this full moon will be falling in your 12th house and be opposite the Sun and Jupiter in Leo in your 6th house. And the 12th house is often described as the unconscious, the things that we cannot easily access, that might be a bit hidden for us. It's also described as the house of spirituality, our sleep, our dreams, about isolation, institutions like hospitals and prisons, and also long periods of solitude. It can be particularly connected to your dream world, where your subconscious mind wants to communicate something with you. And because you already have Pluto transiting through this area of your chart, there are indeed a longer story unfolding here, being very present around this full moon for you, because there are things that you might have buried that wasn't available for you before to, when something is kept in the subconscious mind and you don't have a language for it, it's very difficult to heal it. And that is what will be the case for you, Pisces rising, because there's a wonderful opportunity here to really, on a very deep foundational level, to access everything that has been buried, patterns, even past life experiences that, might have restricted you still in your choices in life now, and that you just couldn't access, that you just couldn't look at before. And it could be even sides of yourself that you have been avoiding or simply not understanding. So this lunation in Aquarius will really bring to light a greater awareness about the patterns that keeps you stuck for maybe for years and years. That's also what people sometimes call healing crisis, because they keep trying to fix themselves or heal something in themselves, and the outer world just remain the same, and the way that you approach the world remain the same, and then it just feels like all this work was for nothing. But here with Pluto conjunct to the moon in Aquarius and illuminating this area for you, you will be able to almost overnight recognize, oh wow, this is what this is about. Maybe you have a dream that keeps repeating and you always ask yourself, why am I always dreaming about a boat on water, or whatever it might be? And that's where I would also really recommend for you to keep a journal, a dream journal around this week for you Pisces rising, because there might be something from the past that still holds a deep influence over you. And this is where your subconscious mind, through the dream world, will be able to deliver some symbolic language that really can help you to release those patterns. Maybe it's very emotional. Maybe you have been carrying emotional burdens on you and responsibilities that you haven't taken a look at. You just become so accustomed to feel this way that you have never even stopped and questioned, why? Why do I feel like this? Does it even belong to me, Because this is also about deep soul work. Like the 12th house might not be very accessible to us always, but once it is illuminated, it is the house of the biggest transformational points in your birth chart. And again, with the full moon conjunct to Pluto here, it seems like something from a process or a healing path or something from the past can become very obvious to you. And my advice or suggestion is to not fear it, not avoid it, but allow it to be there. And it doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It can be much more simple than that. It can be that you are spotting a pattern that keeps you from being truly vulnerable and connecting to other people. It could be that you just realize that you're deeply exhausted and that you haven't been taking good care of yourself. Or maybe you have been avoiding something that has to come to an end, and now it's just obvious to you, because the 12th house is also the last of the zodiac signs. It holds the experience of all the entire journey throughout the houses, and so there might be a natural ending in this area of life for you around this Aquarius full moon. And for some Pisces risings out there, there might be a stronger need for retreating a bit. This could be a wonderful time to actually go on a retreat, do meditation, sign yourself up for a meditation course, or just be more silent in your day-to-day life. Try to not listen to too many things and listen to silence, because maybe something needs to be processed before you are able to deal with it, before you have the capacity to deal with it. And then another really vital thing is that opposite of this, you have the Sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo in your 6th house. And now 6th house is everything about your daily routines, your health, your day-to-day habits, your responsibilities, your skills, craftsmanship. It seems like there could be a need to put your attention towards your day-to-day habits. How are you nourishing yourself? How are you taking care of your particularly sleep routine? Do you get enough minerals? Are you cutting off screen time early enough in the evening so that you can have a good night's sleep? And because you will have Jupiter in Leo moving through your 6th house into summer next year, maybe Jupiter could bring in more heart-aligned work for you, more heart-aligned clients if you work for yourself, maybe more heart-aligned projects that you would really like to devote yourself with. Maybe you are just devoting yourself to develop a skill, and all of these things could become very apparent to you with this full moon. So I would say seize this moment to journal around what would you wish to have in your day-to-day life. Are there any skills you wish to become better at? Are there any dream clients you would like to work with, or dream work that you would like to manifest? And because the 6th and the 12th house works together, that see it as if you're doing like a deep cleanse of your 12th house, your subconscious restrictions. You will also benefit from it, from that change of perspective in your day-to-day life. And I will say that pay attention to any opportunities to develop a skill, a craftsmanship, anything that makes your heart sing, anything that makes you feel like, wow, I really want to do that, because that might in itself also help you heal subconscious patterns in relation to your 12th house. And I would say and just emphasize that since we have Pluto in conjunct to this Aquarius moon, there is a need for you to slow down a bit, to rest a bit when it's happening in your 12th house. Maybe you need a bit more sleep than usual. Allow yourself to have that. Allow yourself to be a little bit fatigued, a little bit in between worlds, because this could definitely be something that you feel around this moon as well. And I will also add that since we are dealing with Pluto, and you will have Pluto in your 12th house, and it will be a long transformational but great journey for you. You might want to check out where your natal Pluto is in your birth chart, and then you can listen to my guide around Pluto through the 12 houses, because that could help you to understand the transformations that are taking place for you on a broader scale. And if you wish to also work deeper with astrology, I do have different options to work with me. So you can always check them out in the description box. And finally, I will leave you with a question that you can choose to journal on under this full moon in Aquarius. And the question would be, what shows up in my everyday life over and over again that might be created from a subconscious pattern? So this is what I had for you, my Pisces risings. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel, and I catch you in another video. Bye for now.